Jack Morrison handed me the debate prep binder at our campaign office, the same office where he'd been sleeping with my wife for 4 years. I just didn't know it yet. It was October 14th, 21 days before the election. 21 days before 180,000 voters in Riverside County, Michigan, would decide if I deserved another term as county commissioner. 21 days before everything I'd built over 12 years, the reputation, the relationships, the trust, would either continue or collapse. The thing is, I thought I knew exactly how it would go. The polls had me up by 8 points. Thomas Brennan, my opponent, was a decent guy, but he didn't have the history, the roots I had here. I'd been serving this county since 2013. I knew people's names. I showed up at their kids' little league games. I volunteered at the food bank every third Saturday. And I had the slogan that mattered: Harrison Family Values, leadership you can trust. It was everywhere. Blue and white yard signs on every other lawn. The corrugated plastic rattled in the October wind like applause every time I drove past one. My daughter Claire and I, our photos side by side, both running for office, me for county commissioner, her for State House District 64. The Harrison family brand, a dynasty, the local paper called it. The fundraiser that Friday night was at the Riverside Community Center. 300 donors packed into a room that smelled like coffee and optimism. Claire was there, of course, 25 years old in a navy blazer, working the room like she'd been born for this. She had been, really. She'd watched me campaign since she was 3. Amanda, my wife, stood by the refreshment table in her cream-colored dress, the one she wore for official events. County health director, my political partner for 23 years. We'd built this together, she always said. Jack moved through the crowd like he owned it. Campaign manager for 10 years. My college roommate from Michigan State back in '95. Best man at my wedding. The guy I called at 2 a.m. when I needed to talk through a tough vote. 30 years of friendship right there in a pressed shirt and a confident smile. Margaret Walsh, our volunteer coordinator, was running the raffle. 62 years old, been with us for 15 years, silver hair pulled back, reading glasses on a chain. She had this way of organizing chaos into order. Every campaign needs a Margaret. And the grand prize, Margaret announced, holding up a green box. A Heritage DNA Ancestry Kit donated by the Riverside Pharmacy. People laughed. It was a funny prize for a political fundraiser, but hey, free was free. Claire's hand shot up when her number was called. She bounded to the front, grinning like she'd won the lottery. Margaret handed her the box. Matte finish, smooth in her hands, the kind that rattles slightly when you shake it because of the swab tubes inside. Dad! Claire turned to me across the room, holding it up. We should do this together, a family heritage project for the campaign. Show voters the Harrison family roots go deep. Everyone applauded. It was perfect, wholesome, exactly the kind of story the Riverside Gazette would eat up. Kevin Hayes, the local journalist, was already taking notes. I gave her a thumbs up. Amanda smiled that public smile, the one that looked warm in photos. Jack clapped me on the shoulder. See? This is what I'm talking about. Authentic family moments. That's your strength, Rob. They trust you because they trust your family. I nodded. I believed him. God help me. I believed every word. The DNA kit sat on my kitchen counter for 2 weeks. Claire kept texting me about it. Dad, did you do yours yet? We need to submit them together for the story. But October was brutal. Commission meetings, budget reviews, campaign events every night. The debate was coming up. I barely had time to sleep, let alone spit in a tube. Finally, on a Tuesday afternoon, I did it. Scraped the swab inside my cheek, sealed it in the little plastic vial, mailed it off. Claire texted me a selfie of her doing the same thing. Race you to the results. The results came back 3 weeks later. It was a Wednesday, November 4th, 17 days until the election. I was in the campaign office going over debate prep with Jack. The office was small, converted storefront on Main Street, folding tables and laptop chargers everywhere, Harrison for Commissioner posters covering the water-stained walls. Margaret was there reviewing finance reports at the corner desk. 2 volunteers were making phone calls in the back room. Normal, routine, just another campaign day. My phone buzzed, email notification. Your heritage DNA results are ready. I opened it without thinking. Claire would want to know. We could release the story this week, maybe tie it into the family values messaging for the debate. The app loaded, colorful charts, percentages. My ancestry breakdown: 43% Irish, 31% German, 18% English, 8% Scandinavian. Cool. Made sense. My dad's side was Irish, mom's was German stock. I scrolled down. Relative matches. There was Claire's name, Claire Marie Harrison. But the relationship field didn't say daughter, it said biological relationship, half-sibling detected, unknown relative. I stared at the screen. Half-sibling, not parent-child, not father-daughter, half-sibling. The coffee cup in my hand tipped. I didn't drop it exactly, I just forgot I was holding it. Coffee spilled across Jack's debate binder, brown liquid spreading over his neat handwritten notes about talking points. Rob? Jack jumped up, grabbing napkins. You okay? Yeah, sorry, My voice sounded far away. Knock my coffee. Margaret looked up from her corner. She didn't say anything, but her eyes were sharp. She'd known me 12 years. She could tell when something was wrong. I wiped at the binder, not really seeing it. The plastic ring scraped when I opened it to dry the pages. My hands were shaking. You sure you're all right? Jack asked. You look pale. I'm fine. I need to make a call. Give me 5 minutes. I walked outside into the October afternoon. The campaign yard signs rattled in the wind. My face and Claire's side by side. Harrison family values. I pulled up the DNA results again, read it 3 more times. Half-sibling detected. There had to be a mistake. Lab error, switched samples, something. But then I saw the percentage. 25% DNA shared. That wasn't a mistake. That was a biological fact. That was exactly what you'd expect for a half-sibling. Claire wasn't my daughter. Claire wasn't my daughter. 25 years, every soccer game, every school play, teaching her to drive, walking her through her first campaign speech. All of it. I called the Heritage DNA customer service line, waited on hold for 11 minutes, listening to cheerful music while my entire world tilted on its axis. Hello, this is Sophia with Heritage DNA. How can I help you? There's a problem with my results, the relationship match. It says it's showing my daughter as a half-sibling. Oh. Her voice shifted, professional warmth replaced by careful neutrality. Sir, I understand this is difficult, but our relationship algorithms are highly accurate. If the system is showing a half-sibling relationship with 25% shared DNA, that's what the genetic evidence indicates. But that's not possible. I'm her father. I've been her father for 25 years. I'm very sorry, sir. If you'd like, I can connect you with one of our genetic counselors who specializes in unexpected results. I hung up. My hands were shaking so badly the phone nearly slipped. I stood there on Main Street, voters walking past, some of them waving at me. Hey, Commissioner, got my vote. And I couldn't even wave back. If Claire wasn't my daughter, then who was her father? I didn't go back to the office. I drove home, parked in the driveway, sat in my car for 20 minutes just staring at the steering wheel. Amanda wouldn't be home for another hour. She was doing a site visit at the county health clinic. Claire was in Lansing meeting with potential donors. The house was empty. I needed to think. I needed evidence. I needed to understand what the hell was happening before I started accusing anyone of anything. My office is on the first floor. Mahogany desk I'd bought when I got elected the first time. Bookshelves full of policy, manuals, and framed photos. Commission meetings, campaign victories, family vacations. There was the picture from the couples retreat last year, Lake Tahoe, me and Amanda, Jack and his wife Linda. The four of us laughing at some joke I couldn't even remember now. I picked up the frame, silver 8x10, glass that reflected the overhead light. Looked at it closer. Amanda's hand was resting on Jack's shoulder. I'd never noticed that before. Their body language. They were standing closer than I'd realized. Linda was on the edge of the frame, slightly turned away. And Jack and Amanda were... No, I was seeing things. I was paranoid because of a DNA test. But then I remembered Margaret's face at the office. That look she'd given me, like she knew something was wrong before I did. Margaret. She'd been reviewing the campaign finance reports when I left. Quarterly reports are public record. We file them with the county, but Margaret keeps her own spreadsheets. She's meticulous. She notices patterns. I called her. Margaret, it's Rob. Do you still have those finance reports at the office? Yes, I'm here until 6. Can you bring them to my house? Now? She paused. Rob, what's going on? Just, please, I need to see them. I'll be there in 10 minutes. I hung up and went to make coffee. My hands were steadier now. The shock was crystallizing into something else. Something colder. If I was wrong, if this was all some terrible misunderstanding, then I was about to destroy my marriage over a lab error and paranoid pattern matching. But if I was right, then I needed evidence. Real evidence. Not just DNA percentages and a photo where someone's hand was in the wrong place. Margaret arrived with a canvas tote bag, the kind she carried everywhere. She didn't knock, just came in through the side door like she'd done 100 times. She set the bag on my kitchen table, pulled out a 3-ring binder, 45 pages, printed single-sided, numbers in neat columns, yellow highlighter everywhere. I've been tracking this for 6 months, she said quietly. I wasn't sure if I should tell you. I kept hoping I was wrong. She opened to a tabbed section. Campaign credit card expenses. 2 columns, one for Jack's corporate card, one for Amanda's county purchasing card that she sometimes used for campaign-related health outreach. Margaret had highlighted matching transactions, same hotels, same dates, same cities. Her finger traced down the page. Embassy Suites, Memphis, October 12th, 2023. Jack's card, $228. Amanda's card, charged from the hotel restaurant, $106. Hilton Garden Inn, Grand Rapids, November 4th, 2023. Jack's card, $195. Amanda's card, room service, $83. Hampton Inn, Ann Arbor, December 2nd, 2023. She'd highlighted 23 transactions. 23 times over 2 years where Jack and Amanda had been in the same city, at the same hotel, on the same date. Campaign events, Margaret said. That's what they called them. Strategy sessions, outreach coordination. And technically, yes, there were events in those cities. But Rob, she looked at me. Her eyes were sad. They stayed an extra night, every single time, after the event ended. The pages rustled when I flipped through them. The paper still smelled like printer toner, fresh ink. The highlighter was slightly sticky under my fingertips. 23 times. I wanted to be wrong, Margaret whispered. I've checked and rechecked. I even called a couple of the hotels, said I was confirming details for tax purposes. Same hotels, Rob, same nights. I closed the binder. Couldn't look at it anymore. The DNA test, I said. Claire's not my daughter. Margaret's hand went to her mouth. Oh, God. Oh, Rob. She's Jack's. It wasn't a question. I knew. The timeline made sense now. 25 years ago, Jack was the best man at my wedding. He and Amanda had met at my bachelor party. They'd hit it off. Everyone thought it was great. My fiancée got along with my best friend. Made everything easier. We'd gotten married in June. Claire was born the following March. 9 months. Normal. Expected. Except if the affair had started before the wedding... No, I couldn't think about that. Not yet. Not until I had more. What are you going to do? Margaret asked. I don't know yet. But Margaret, I looked at her. Don't tell anyone. Not Jack, not Amanda, no one. I need to figure out how deep this goes. She nodded, hugged me. This 62-year-old woman who'd been like a second mother to Claire, who'd organized every campaign event for 15 years, who'd kept this terrible secret for 6 months because she didn't want to destroy me. I'm so sorry, she said. After she left, I sat alone in my kitchen with the finance reports spread out in front of me. 23 trips, 2 years of documented lies. But it had to be longer than that. Had to be. Claire's DNA said so. I needed more evidence. Amanda kept a jewelry box on her dresser, rosewood lined with burgundy velvet. I'd given it to her on our 10th anniversary. She kept her good earrings in there, her grandmother's brooch, the silver necklace I'd bought her in Charlottesville. I opened it Saturday morning while she was at the farmer's market with campaign volunteers, setting up a booth, handing out literature, being seen. The candidate's wife. Underneath the jewelry tray was a small compartment. I'd never looked in there before. Never had a reason to. There was a hospital bracelet, white plastic. You could feel the texture, slightly rough, grippy, designed so it wouldn't slide off. The barcode was raised. You could trace it with your fingertip. And there, printed in plain black letters, Riverside Memorial Hospital, A. Harrison, March 15th, 2024. March 15th. I stood there holding it, my brain trying to process what I was seeing. Last March. Amanda had told me she'd had a miscarriage. She'd been crying when she told me, said she was 8 weeks along, hadn't wanted to tell me until she was sure, and then she'd lost it. I'd held her while she sobbed, grieved for the baby we'd never meet. I pulled out my phone, checked my calendar for March 2024, March 10th through March 24th, County Commissioner Conference, Lansing, 2 weeks. The annual conference I'd never missed, budget planning, state legislation updates, networking with commissioners from other counties. I was in Lansing when that bracelet was issued. I was 200 miles away when Amanda lost a baby that couldn't have been mine. The plastic bracelet felt cold in my hand, clinical, undeniable. She'd lost another man's baby while I was in Lansing, and she'd come home and cried in my arms about our lost child. The rage came then, not hot, cold. The kind that makes your hands stop shaking and your vision sharpen and your thoughts turn crystalline and clear. I went to the bathroom, found the ultrasound photo tucked in Amanda's cosmetics drawer, the one from her current pregnancy. 11 weeks, the printout said. That slick thermal paper texture, slightly curled at the edges. Baby Harrison. I did the math. Conception would have been early September. I pulled up my calendar again. September 3rd through 15th, I was in Detroit. Meetings with the governor's staff about county road funding. Jack had stayed in Riverside to manage the campaign. Amanda was home with Jack. This baby wasn't mine either. I stood in front of the bathroom mirror, looking at my own reflection. 49 years old, gray starting at my temples, lines around my eyes from years of smiling at voters. 12 years as commissioner, 23 years of marriage, and I'd been blind to all of it. How long? How many years? Was Claire the first, or had there been others? I put the hospital bracelet in my pocket, the ultrasound photo too, walked downstairs, waited for Amanda to come home. She walked in at 8:17 Sunday morning. I'd been sitting at the kitchen table since 7. The hospital bracelet was in front of me, the ultrasound photo, Margaret's finance report open to the highlighted pages. The college roommate photo, the one from Michigan State, 1995, was there too. Faded 4x6 print in a plastic sleeve, that old chemical photo smell still clinging to it. Jack and me, 19 years old, grinning in our dorm room, 30 years ago, best friends. Amanda saw me, saw the evidence spread across the kitchen table like an autopsy. She froze. "Sit down," I said. My voice was calm, too calm. The kind of calm that comes after you've been awake all night, processing impossible information until it becomes simply fact. Rob, sit down. She sat. I pushed the hospital bracelet across the table. March 15th, I was in Lansing, 2-week conference. You told me you'd had a miscarriage. I kept my voice level. Whose baby did you lose, Amanda? Her face went white. Rob, I can explain. The DNA test. Claire's not my daughter. The finance reports, 23 hotel stays with Jack over 2 years. And this, I tapped the ultrasound photo. 11 weeks, conceived in September. I was in Detroit meeting with the governor's office for 2 weeks. Jack was here. She started crying. Not the elegant tears she used at campaign events. Real sobs, the kind that shake your shoulders and make your makeup run. How long? I asked. Rob, please. How long? She wiped her face with shaking hands. 4 years. The affair, it's been 4 years. 4 years. Since 2021, the brutal re-election campaign when I was underwater in the polls and working 20-hour days and barely came home. And Claire? Rob, don't... Claire. My voice cracked. The first break in my composure. Is she Jack's? Amanda buried her face in her hands. Nodded. Say it. Yes. A whisper. She's Jack's. It was one time... Before we got married, I was scared. I didn't know if I was ready to marry you. And Jack was there, and it just... One time, you're saying Claire was conceived from one time, 25 years ago, and then the affair started 4 years ago? She looked up, caught. Yes. You're lying. The March miscarriage. That was his, too, wasn't it? Which means the affair never stopped. Which means you've been lying to me for... I couldn't even process the timeline. For how long, Amanda? How many years? She was openly sobbing now. I don't know. I don't remember. It was on and off, Rob. It wasn't... And this baby? I pushed the ultrasound across the table. The one you announced 2 weeks ago at the commission meeting? The one everyone congratulated us for? I don't know, she whispered. I don't know if it's yours or his. Yes, you do. I pulled out my calendar, showed her the dates. I was in Detroit. You know damn well whose it is. She didn't answer. Didn't have to. I looked at my watch. 8:37. I had a commission meeting at 9 o'clock. Regular Sunday session, budget review, usually a couple dozen citizens in attendance, sometimes covered by local TV. I had to be there in 23 minutes. Had to sit at the head of the table with my commissioner's gavel, the oak one with the brass plate that said, R. Harrison, Commissioner 2013, and lead a meeting like my entire world hadn't just shattered. Does Jack know? I asked. That Claire is his? No, I never told him, never told anyone. And the current pregnancy? He knows. He wants me to leave you. Wants to be together openly, wants to raise the baby. I laughed. Couldn't help it. It came out bitter and sharp. 30 years I trusted him with my life. He was best man at our wedding, and you... I looked at her. 23 years of marriage. You stood next to me at every campaign event. Harrison Family Values. You said that slogan. Amanda, you approved it. Rob, I'm sorry, I never meant get out. What? Get out of this house. Go to a hotel. Go to Jack's. I don't care. But you're not staying here. Rob, we can work through this. Counseling. We can... I stood up. She flinched. I have a commission meeting in 20 minutes. I have to stand in front of this community and pretend everything is fine. I have to use this... I picked up the gavel from my briefcase, felt the weight of it, the wood grains smooth from 12 years of use. I have to be Commissioner Harrison, trusted public servant, and I have to do it knowing my entire life is a lie. I walked toward the door, stopped, turned back. You have until noon to get your things and leave. We're done. I left her crying at the kitchen table and drove to the commission meeting. Somehow, and I still don't know how I did this, I chaired that meeting, called it to order with 3 solid thumps of the gavel, reviewed the budget line items, listened to citizen comments, voted on resolutions. The whole time, all I could think was, can a man who campaigns on family values survive when his family is the lie? 21 days until the election, and I had no idea what the hell I was going to do. Monday evening, 6:30 p.m. The campaign office smelled like day-old coffee and desperation. I'd made it through Sunday, through the commission meeting, through Amanda packing her bags, through calling my lawyer. I'd made it through explaining to Claire that her mother was staying with a friend for a few days because we needed space. Made it through her concerned eyes and her question, "Dad, is everything okay?" And my lie, "We'll talk soon, honey." But I couldn't avoid this. Jack had scheduled debate prep for Monday at 6:30. The debate was Thursday, 8 days until Election Day. I had to show up, had to perform normalcy, had to sit 3 feet away from the man who destroyed my life and pretend I didn't know. Jack was already there when I arrived, spreading materials across the folding table. The debate prep binder, that heavy 3-inch black binder with his detailed handwritten notes, tab sections color-coded by topic. The binder I'd spilled coffee on last week. He'd reprinted the damaged pages. "Rob, ready to crush this thing?" He grinned, easy, comfortable, like we'd done 1,000 times before. Margaret was in the outer office. I could see her through the glass partition, pretending to organize volunteer schedules, but she was watching. She knew I knew, and she knew what this was costing me. "Yeah," I managed. "Let's do it." Jack flipped open the binder. The rings scraped, that distinctive metallic sound. "Okay, so Thomas Brennan is going to hit you on the road funding vote from August. We need a tight response. 30 seconds max. You voted against it because..." "The environmental study wasn't complete," I said automatically. "We'd committed to reviewing the wetlands impact before proceeding. I wasn't voting against roads. I was voting for responsible process." "Perfect. That's the line." Jack scribbled a note in the margin. I could see Amanda's phone number written there, barely visible next to his policy notes. Just her initials, AH, and 10 digits. My hand tightened on the edge of the table. "Now, family values section." Jack looked up at me. "This is your bread and butter, Rob. 23-year marriage, daughter running for office on the same ballot. The Harrison family brand is strong. Really lean into it. 23-year marriage, daughter, family brand. Every word was a knife." "For the family values section," Jack continued, checking his notes, "really emphasize your 23-year marriage. That authenticity, that's your strength against Brennan. He's divorced, no kids. You've got the whole package, stable, trustworthy." I stared at him, this man I'd known for 30 years, college roommate, best man, campaign manager, father of my daughter. He had no idea I knew. "Rob?" Jack frowned. "You're spacing out on me, man. You okay?" "Fine." My jaw ached from clenching it. "Just tired." "Well, wake up. We're 8 days out. Brennan's been gaining. We're only up by 6 points now. We need this debate to close strong." He flipped to another section. "Healthcare. Amanda's position as health director gives you credibility here. Let's skip that section." Jack blinked. "Skip it?" "Rob, healthcare is a top 3 issue for voters." I said, "Skip it." The edge in my voice made him stop, made Margaret look up from the outer office. Jack set down his pen slowly. "Okay, what's going on?" "Nothing. I need to focus on economic development instead. Roads, jobs, manufacturing. That's what Riverside County cares about." It was a lie, a deflection, but I couldn't sit here and listen to him tell me how to leverage my wife, his lover, for political gain. "All right," Jack said carefully. "We'll adjust, but Rob, seriously, I'm fine. Let's keep going." We worked for another 90 minutes. Every minute was agony. Jack's voice, the same voice that had given a toast at my wedding, that had talked me through my father's funeral, that had strategized campaigns late into the night, now sounded like nails on a chalkboard. The campaign yard signs were visible through the office window, blue and white plastic rattling in the wind. My face and Claire's. Harrison family values. The irony was suffocating. Finally, at 8:15, Jack packed up the binder. Good session. You'll crush it Thursday. Oh, and hey. He clapped me on the shoulder, the familiar gesture, brothers in arms. Amanda mentioned you guys were having some rough patch stuff. If you need to talk, man, I'm here, always. I looked at his hand on my shoulder, wanted to break every finger. Thanks, I said through my teeth. Appreciate it. After he left, Margaret came in from the outer office, locked the door behind her. Didn't say anything, just handed me a bottle of water and sat down across from me. How did you do that? She asked quietly. I don't know. Rob, you can't keep this up. You have to... I have to what? I looked at her. Tell him I know? Blow up the campaign 8 days before the election? Destroy Claire's race too? You can't work with him, not like this. I don't have a choice, not yet. My phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Commissioner Harrison, this is Kevin Hayes, Riverside Gazette. Kevin, the journalist who'd been covering my campaign for 12 years, 33 years old, sharp, fair, one of the good ones. Kevin, what can I do for you? I'm working on a story about campaign management, and I'd really like to get your comment before I print it Friday. My stomach dropped. What kind of story? I've received some information about irregularities, campaign finance patterns, travel expenses, hotel stays that don't quite line up with event schedules. He paused. Commissioner, I'm going to print something. I'd rather it include your side. Someone was talking. Someone knew or suspected. Kevin, I need 48 hours. Rob, I have a Friday deadline. 48 hours, please. I'm asking as someone you've covered for 12 years. Give me until Wednesday night. If you don't hear from me by then, print whatever you have. Silence. Then Wednesday, 8 p.m. But Rob, whatever's going on, it's going to come out. You know that, right? Yeah, I know. I hung up. Margaret was staring at me. The journalist knows, I said. Oh, God. I have 2 days. 2 days before this goes public. I stood up, grabbed my briefcase. I need more evidence. Everything. Timeline, expenses, all of it. I'll have it by tomorrow morning. I left the office and walked to my car in the parking lot. The October night was cold, frost already forming on windshields. The stars were out, clear sky, no clouds. Beautiful night for a disaster. My phone buzzed. Text from Claire. Dad, can we talk? Mom won't tell me what's going on. Not yet, baby. Not yet. I couldn't tell her. Not until I knew everything. Not until I had every piece of evidence lined up. Not until I figured out how to tell my daughter that the father she'd known for 25 years wasn't her father at all. Tuesday morning, 9:45 p.m. I was supposed to be home, but instead I was sitting in my car on the third level of the county building parking garage. Jack's car was 3 spaces over. I'd called him an hour ago, said I needed to talk. Campaign strategy. Important. Meet me at the garage. Quiet, no reporters. He'd agreed immediately, always eager, always helpful. I'd been waiting 30 minutes when his headlights swept across the concrete pillars. His sedan pulled into the space next to mine. He got out, frowning. Rob, why are we meeting in a parking garage at 9:30 at night? I got out of my car. The USB drive was in my pocket, the one Margaret had found yesterday. The blue flash drive with our campaign logo on it, the one that contained the voter database. Except Margaret had discovered it also contained personal files, files Jack shouldn't have had, files from Amanda's work computer at the county health department. He'd been accessing her computer. Using county resources for... What? Coordinating their affair? Deleting evidence? We need to talk, I said. Okay. Jack looked around. Why here? Because I don't want anyone to hear this. Something in my voice made him step back. Rob, what's going on? I pulled out my phone, opened the DNA results, showed him the screen. That's Claire's DNA match to mine. Half-sibling, not daughter, not parent-child, half-sibling. Jack's face went pale in the fluorescent lighting. What are you... Margaret's been tracking the campaign finances, 23 hotel stays. Same hotels, same dates, you and Amanda, for 2 years. I pulled the college roommate photo from my wallet, the one from Michigan State 30 years ago, us grinning like idiots. And this, 30 years of friendship. I let the photo fall at his feet. It fluttered down, landed face up on the oil-stained concrete. You were the best man at my wedding. You stood up there and promised to support us. And you've been sleeping with my wife since... I couldn't even say it. Since when, Jack? When did it start? He didn't answer, just stared at the photo on the ground. Claire's yours, I said. The DNA proves it, which means this started before I even got married, which means you've been lying to me for 25 years. Rob, and Amanda's pregnant. You know that, right? That it's yours? His face said he did. So what's the plan, Jack? Were you going to tell me? Or were you just going to let me raise another one of your children while you, what? Kept managing my campaigns? Kept pretending to be my friend? It wasn't supposed to be like this, Jack said quietly. It happened. It just happened for 25 years? My voice echoed off the concrete walls. Somewhere 3 levels down, a car door slammed. Jack ran his hands through his hair. Look, we can figure this out. You don't have to figure it out. How exactly do we figure this out, Jack? We can spin this. You withdraw quietly. Say it's health reasons, stress. You need time with family. I'll manage the transition. Make sure Thomas Brennan doesn't... I laughed. Couldn't help it. The sound was ugly and bitter. You'll manage it. You think I'm going to let you manage anything? Rob, think about Claire. Her campaign. If this goes public, it destroys her too. She's 3 points up in her race. She could win. But not if there's a scandal. Not if... Don't! I stepped toward him. He backed up against his car. Don't you dare use Claire as leverage. You're her biological father, and you don't even know her. You've never been her father. I have. Every soccer game, every school play, every late-night talk about college applications, that was me. You were just the guy having an affair with her mother. I know that. I know. And I'm sorry, Rob. I never wanted to hurt you. You destroyed what you were supposed to protect. 30 years. My marriage, my daughter, My voice cracked. You were my best friend. I still am. We can... No. I cut him off. We're done. You're done. You're going to resign as campaign manager tonight. You're going to tell people it's personal reasons. And then you're going to stay away from me, away from Claire, away from this campaign. Rob, 8 days before the election? That'll sink you. The optics alone... I don't care. You've worked for 12 years for this. You're going to throw it away because my campaign manager was sleeping with my wife. Yeah, Jack, I think that's reasonable grounds for termination. He stared at me. If I resign now, people will ask why. The journalist, Kevin Hayes, he's already sniffing around. This makes it worse. Then let it be worse. I'm not working with you another day. Jack picked up the photo from the ground, looked at it. Us at 19, arms around each other's shoulders, stupid and happy, and convinced we'd be friends forever. I really am sorry, he said quietly. Get out of my sight. He got in his car, started the engine, drove away. I stood there in the parking garage for another 20 minutes, listening to my own breathing echo off the concrete before I could trust myself to drive. Wednesday evening. Claire showed up at my house at 6. I hadn't called her, hadn't texted. She just appeared at the door with her fiancée Olivia, both of them looking worried. "Dad, what the hell is going on?" Claire demanded. "Mom won't answer her phone. Jack just resigned from your campaign. Margaret called me crying, and you..." She looked at me like she didn't recognize me. "You look terrible." I did. I hadn't slept more than 2 hours a night since Friday, hadn't shaved since Sunday. My eyes were bloodshot. My hands shook when I poured coffee. "Come in," I said. They sat on the couch. I sat in the armchair across from them. Didn't know how to start this. Didn't know how to destroy my daughter's world. "Claire, there's something happened. Something I need to tell you, but..." "Is it about Mom? Are you guys getting divorced?" "Yes, but it's more than that." Claire's phone buzzed. She pulled it out, frowned. "It's Mom. She wants to..." She stopped. Her face changed. "Dad, what's this?" She showed me her phone. A photo, a hotel receipt. Embassy Suites, Memphis. The thermal paper, fading ink that she'd just texted to herself from Amanda's phone. "I was helping Mom pack this morning," Claire said slowly, "going through her purse to find her insurance card, and this receipt fell out." She looked at the phone. October 12th, 2023, a hotel in Memphis, room for 2. She looked up at me. "You were at the County Association conference in Detroit that week. I remember because I called you to ask about my law school essay. If you've ever had someone you trusted completely betray you, someone you thought you knew, just type 'trusted' in the comments. You're not alone in that pain." But I didn't know the worst was still coming. "Claire, is Mom having an affair?" Olivia put a hand on Claire's knee. "Maybe we should..." "With who?" Claire's voice was rising. "Dad, with who?" I couldn't say it. Couldn't make myself form the words. Claire's phone buzzed again. Another text from Amanda. Claire read it, and I watched her face go white. She says, "Dad knows, that you've known since Sunday." Claire looked at me. "How long? How long has she been..." "4 years, at least, maybe longer." 4 years. Claire stood up, started pacing. 4 years and you didn't tell me. 4 years of what? Her sneaking around, lying to us. "There's more," I said quietly. "More? What could possibly be..." "Sit down, honey, please." Something in my voice made her sit. I pulled up the DNA results on my phone, showed her the screen. "You did the Heritage DNA test, remember, at the fundraiser? We both submitted samples?" "Yeah, for the family heritage story." "The results came back last week, and they showed..." I couldn't look at her. "They showed you and I aren't father and daughter, biologically. We share 25% DNA, half siblings." The silence was absolute. "What?" Claire's voice was barely a whisper. "I'm not your biological father, Claire." That's not possible. That's a mistake. Lab error. Those tests aren't..." I called them. "The accuracy rate is 99.9%. And the percentage matches. 25% is exactly what you'd expect for half siblings." Claire looked at Olivia. At me. At her phone, still showing the hotel receipt. "If you're not my father, then who?" She stopped. I watched her brain make the connection, watched her face cycle through confusion, denial, horror, realization. No, Dad, don't tell me it's Jack," I said. Claire's hand went to her mouth. "Jack Morrison, your campaign manager, your best friend." "Yes." "Does he know?" "Your mother says she never told him. About you. But the current pregnancy, yes, he knows about that." "Oh my God." Claire stood up, stumbled toward the bathroom. We heard her getting sick. Olivia looked at me, her eyes full of tears. "Commissioner Harrison, I'm so sorry." "Not your fault, Olivia." Claire came back, face wet, mascara running. "Does Mom know that you found out about me?" "Yes. I confronted her Sunday morning with the DNA results and the hotel receipts. She admitted everything. Sunday, 3 days ago. Claire laughed, but it sounded broken. And you've been, what? Just carrying this around, doing commission meetings, debate prep? I had to until I figured out what? How to tell me my entire life is a lie. Her voice cracked. That the man I thought was my father isn't? That my mother's been having an affair for how long, Dad? When did it start? I don't know exactly. At least 25 years ago, before the wedding. Claire sank back onto the couch. Olivia put an arm around her. I built my whole campaign, Claire whispered, on being Rob Harrison's daughter. That's my brand. That's why people take me seriously. Following in her father's footsteps. That's what the Gazette article said. She looked at me. Who am I if that's a lie? I moved to sit next to her, took her hands. You're Claire Harrison. You're brilliant. You're kind. You're going to be a great legislator. None of that changes. Are you sure? Or did I get into Stanford Law because Jack pulled strings? Did I... Claire, stop. You taught yourself to code when you were 14. You graduated Stanford Law top of your class. But how do I know? Her eyes were desperate. How do I know what I earned and what was just legacy admissions because of you or because of him? Because I watched you earn every bit of it. I was there, Claire. Every all-nighter studying for the bar exam, every volunteer shift at legal aid, every speech you wrote yourself. That was you. Not me. Not Jack. You. She was crying now, full sobs, the kind that shake your whole body. Dad, she whispered. You're still my dad, right? Even if the DNA says I pulled her into a hug, held her while she cried. I'm your dad. Biology doesn't change that. I changed your diapers. I taught you to ride a bike. I walked you through your first campaign speech. I sat in the hospital when you had your appendix out. That makes me your father. Not DNA, not Jack Morrison, me. If you were Claire, your father's career, your own campaign, everything on the line, would you drop out to avoid the scandal? Type drop. Or keep fighting? Type fight. What would you do? I know what I'd want her to do, but this was her choice, not mine. And she made it. Thursday morning, I got a call from Margaret. Rob, you need to come to the office, now. What's wrong? Just come, please. I found her in the back room, door closed. She'd been crying. This 62-year-old woman who'd organized chaos into order for 15 years was crying. Margaret, what? She handed me another printout, more yellow highlights, more hotel receipts, more expenses. I've been tracking this for 6 months, she said. I told you that, but Rob, I should have told you sooner, way sooner. I've been checking since April. I had the pattern by May, and I couldn't figure out how to tell you. Margaret, you're the most honest man in this county. Everyone knows that, and I couldn't be the one to destroy that. I couldn't be the person who told you that your best friend was, that your wife was. She broke down. I should have told you 6 months ago. I'm so sorry. I stepped around the desk, hugged her. You didn't fail me. I feel like I did. You gave me the truth when I needed it. That's what honest people do. I held her shoulders, looked at her face. Margaret, you've been loyal to me for 15 years. You documented everything. You gave me evidence when I needed it most. You didn't fail. You saved me. She hugged me again, crying into my shoulder. What are you going to do? She asked when she could speak again. I don't know yet. Kevin Hayes is printing his story tomorrow. The debate is tonight. The election is in 6 days. You could still win, Margaret said, if you handle the debate right. If you control the narrative. I don't want to control the narrative, I said. I want to tell the truth. The truth will destroy your campaign. Maybe, but it's the truth. Friday afternoon, I made an appointment with Dr. Helen Foster. She'd been our family physician for 30 years, delivered Claire, knew our whole medical history. I asked her if she could be there when I talked to Claire again. professional support, someone who could explain the medical side of DNA testing, the psychology of discovering parentage, how to process this kind of trauma. She agreed immediately. Rob, I'm so sorry this happened, but for what it's worth, biology is just biology. Family is what you make it. Tell that to Claire. I will. She needs to hear it from someone other than you. We met at Dr. Foster's office Friday at 2 p.m. Private office, comfortable chairs, a box of tissues on the coffee table. Claire and Olivia arrived together. Claire looked like she hadn't slept either. Dr. Foster explained the DNA testing, how it worked, why the results were accurate, what the percentages meant, clinical, professional, removing any doubt that this might be a mistake. Then she talked about families, about adoption, about step-parents, about biological connection versus emotional connection, about how the definition of father is more complex than genetics. Finally, she left the room. I'll be right outside if you need me. Take your time. Claire sat across from me, just the two of us now. I've been thinking, she said, about what makes someone a father. Claire, let me finish. She wiped her eyes. I built my whole campaign on being Rob Harrison's daughter. That's my brand, my identity. Following in her father's footsteps. And when you told me the DNA results, I thought that was gone, that I was lying to everyone. You're not. But then I realized something. She looked at me. You taught me everything that matters. How to negotiate, how to build consensus, how to serve people instead of using them. You taught me that public service means putting the community first. You taught me integrity. Her voice cracked. That makes you my father. Not Jack, not DNA, you. Claire, did I earn Stanford? She continued. I don't know. Maybe your reputation helped. But you taught me how to study. You taught me discipline. And you taught me that once you're in the room, you prove you belong there by doing the work. She stood up, came over to me, hugged me. Dad, I don't care what the DNA says. You're my father. You've always been my father. And nothing, not Mom, not Jack, not some stupid test, changes that. I held her, both of us crying now. I love you, kiddo. I managed. I love you too, Dad. When we finally let go, she wiped her face. So, what are we going to do? The election is Tuesday. My debate is Monday. Yours was yesterday. How did it go? I held my own. Brennan tried to hit me on the road funding vote. I deflected. But Claire, Kevin Hayes is printing his story tomorrow about the campaign finance irregularities. Once that breaks, the timeline becomes public. Will it mention the affair? He says he's trying to be responsible. Focus on the finances, not the personal stuff. But people will connect the dots. And your campaign? I looked at my daughter, 25 years old, running for State House, her whole future ahead of her. I have a decision to make, I said. And in that moment, sitting in Dr. Foster's office with my daughter, DNA be damned, I finally knew what I had to do. Saturday morning, 6 days before the election, I called an emergency meeting with my core campaign team. 8 people showed up at headquarters. Margaret, of course. 3 longtime volunteers, my media consultant, my treasurer, people who'd been with me for years, people who deserved the truth. I waited until everyone was seated. The campaign office felt smaller somehow. The Harrison for Commissioner posters on the walls, 12 years of them from different campaigns, seemed to mock me now. The commissioner's gavel sat on the table in front of me. I'd brought it from home. Oak handle worn smooth from years of use. Brass plate that read R. Harrison, Commissioner 2013. 12 years of banging that gavel to call meetings to order. 12 years of public service. I'm holding a press conference today at 2 p.m., I said. I'm withdrawing from the race. The silence was deafening. Margaret spoke first. Rob, you can't. You're 6 points up. Brennan doesn't have your experience, your connections, I can't use this anymore. I picked up the gavel. The wood felt cold in my hands. Heavy. I can't stand in front of this community with this gavel and lead them while living a lie. What lie? My media consultant asked. Rob, what's going on? So I told them. Not everything. I kept Claire's parentage private. That was her story to tell or not tell, but I told them about Amanda's affair, about Jack, about the campaign finance patterns that were about to become public tomorrow when Kevin Hayes printed his story. The journalist is going to expose the hotel stays, I said. The matching expenses, 23 documented trips over 2 years. And when people see that pattern, they're going to ask questions. They're going to demand answers, and I'm not going to lie to them. You could spin this, the media consultant said. Personal issues, marriage problems, keep it vague? No. Rob, you're going to lose everything you've built. I already lost it. I set the gavel back down. I lost it when I found out my wife was having an affair with my campaign manager. I lost it when I realized I'd been standing at press conferences talking about Harrison family values while my family was falling apart. I can't do it anymore. Margaret was crying again. Rob, you're the most honest person I know. That's why people trust you. You don't have to withdraw to prove your integrity. Yes, I do. I looked at her. Margaret, I campaigned on family values. I approved that slogan. I stood next to those yard signs with Claire's photo and mine. Leadership you can trust. How can they trust me if I'm not willing to tell them the truth? But 6 days before the election, my treasurer protested. The ballots are already printed. Your name is still on them. Early voting started yesterday. People have already voted for you. If you withdraw now, it creates chaos. I know. I stood up, looked at each of them. I know it's terrible timing. I know it's going to raise questions. I know some of you think I'm making a mistake. But I can't represent this county while lying to them. I just can't. One of the volunteers, Sarah, who'd been stuffing envelopes for me for 8 years, spoke up quietly. What about Claire, her race? Claire's decision is hers. I've talked to her. She knows everything, and she's choosing to continue her campaign. The scandal will hurt her too, Sarah said. Maybe, but she's running her own race now, not as Rob Harrison's daughter. As Claire Harrison, environmental attorney, advocate for clean water policy, candidate for State House, she'll win or lose on her own merit. You really think voters will separate your scandal from hers? The media consultant asked. I don't know, but I'm not going to ask her to quit because of my marriage. That's not fair to her. Margaret stood, came over to me, took my hands. Rob, if you do this, if you withdraw, you're going to lose everything. The commissioner position, your political career, your reputation, everything. No. I squeezed her hands. I'd lose everything if I kept lying. This way, I get to keep the one thing that matters. What's that? The ability to look at myself in the mirror. The press conference was at 2 p.m. in the county building press room. 53 media members showed up, local TV stations, the Gazette, Detroit papers, even a stringer from the Free Press. Kevin Hayes was in the front row. We'd talked this morning. He'd agreed to hold his story until after my announcement. Professional courtesy. Let me control my own narrative for once. I'd written my statement myself. No campaign consultants, no spin doctors, just me and a yellow legal pad at my kitchen table at 3 a.m. Claire was in the back of the room. She'd insisted on coming. I want them to see me supporting you, she'd said. Olivia was next to her, holding her hand. Margaret sat in the second row, eyes red, but spine straight. I stepped up to the podium, no prepared remarks on paper. I'd memorized it. The cameras were rolling. Someone counted down, live in 5, 4, 3. Good afternoon. I'm County Commissioner Robert Harrison. I'm here today to make an announcement about my re-election campaign. The room was silent. You could hear the camera shutters clicking. 6 days ago, I learned some information about my personal life that has caused me to re-evaluate my ability to serve this community. Without going into details that would hurt my family further, I can tell you that my marriage is ending, and the circumstances surrounding that ending have made it impossible for me to continue campaigning. A reporter raised her hand. I ignored her. I've spent 12 years as your county commissioner, 12 years trying to serve you with integrity and transparency. I've always believed that public service means putting the community first, that it means being honest even when honesty is difficult. I paused, looked directly at the camera. I campaigned on family values. I stood next to signs that said, "Leadership you can trust." And I meant it. I believed in those values. But I can no longer represent them while my personal life is in such chaos. It wouldn't be fair to you. It wouldn't be honest. More hands went up. I kept talking. Some of you will say this is unnecessary, that personal lives and public service are separate, that I should just keep my head down and finish the campaign. But I've always believed that integrity means being the same person in public and in private, and right now I can't be that person. Thomas Brennan was in the back, my opponent. He was watching with a mixture of shock and, was that respect? So effective immediately, I am withdrawing from the race for county commissioner. My name will remain on the ballot. It's too late to remove it. But I am suspending all campaign activities. I am asking my supporters not to vote for me. I am asking you to consider Thomas Brennan, who is a good man and will serve you well. The room erupted, reporters shouting questions, cameras flashing. Someone yelled, "Commissioner, you're 8 points ahead in the polls." I held up my hand. I know, but winning doesn't matter if I have to lie to do it. Commissioner Harrison, Kevin Hayes stood up. Are you saying there was illegal activity in your campaign? I'm saying there will be a full audit of campaign finances. Any irregularities will be investigated and addressed. I welcome that transparency. Was your campaign manager involved in Jack Morrison has resigned for personal reasons? That's all I'll say about personnel matters. What about your daughter's campaign? Another reporter. Claire Harrison is running for State House. Will this affect her? I looked at Claire in the back. She nodded. My daughter is running her own campaign. She's her own candidate. Her race is separate from mine. I hope voters will judge her on her own qualifications and her own platform. She's earned that. But the Harrison family brand, there is no Harrison family brand, I said firmly. There's Claire Harrison, candidate for State House, who happens to be my daughter, and there's me withdrawing from public office. Those are two separate things. One more question, a reporter I didn't recognize. Commissioner, you've been in politics for 12 years. You're giving it all up 6 days before an election you were going to win. Why? I thought about the answer, about the gavel in my office, about the campaign yard signs rattling in the wind, about Claire's face when she said, "You're my father," about Amanda crying at the kitchen table, about Jack's cowardice in the parking garage. Because I promised you leadership you can trust, I said. Trust means truth. And the truth is, I can no longer serve you the way you deserve to be served. Not right now. Maybe not ever. But I'm not going to lie to you to win an election. I'd rather lose with my integrity intact. I stepped away from the podium. The room exploded with questions. I ignored them all and walked out the side door. Claire was waiting. She hugged me. I'm proud of you, Dad, she whispered. I just ended my career. No, you just saved your soul. The next week was a blur of legal proceedings. Monday morning, I filed for divorce. My lawyer had the paperwork ready. Amanda didn't contest it. Her lawyer advised her not to fight, not with the evidence we had, the hotel receipts, the finance reports, the timeline. All of it documented, undeniable. Michigan is a no-fault state, but adultery still affects the settlement. Amanda wasn't getting anything beyond what the law required. The house was mine. The savings were split. She'd have to resign from her position as county health director. Conflict of interest, the county attorney said, given the investigation into misuse of government resources. Jack Morrison was done too. The State Political Consultants Association had been notified. Word travels fast in Michigan politics. He'd never work a campaign again. His wife, Linda, who'd been married to him for 20 years, who'd sat next to me at that couples retreat in Lake Tahoe, filed for divorce, too. Turned out she'd had her own suspicions, had her own evidence. We'd compared notes through our lawyers. Linda called me on Tuesday afternoon. Her voice was tired. "Rob, I'm sorry. I should have said something sooner. I suspected for a year." So did Margaret. Everyone knew except me. Not everyone. I think Jack was good at hiding it, and we wanted to believe the best. We talked for an hour, swapped stories, compared timelines. It was oddly therapeutic talking to someone who understood exactly what betrayal felt like. "What are you going to do?" I asked her. "Start over, I guess. I'm 43, no kids. Maybe that's a blessing. Nothing tying me to him." She paused. "What about the baby? Amanda's pregnant, right?" "Yeah, 16 weeks now. And it's Jack's. Timeline proves it." Linda was quiet for a long moment. "Rob, I know this is strange, but I can't have children and medical issues, and I always wanted to be a mother. Do you think, would Amanda consider adoption, private adoption? I'd give the baby everything, love, stability, a real home. I have money saved. I'm not asking for Jack's money. Just a chance to be a mom to a child who needs one." I thought about it. About Amanda, pregnant with a baby she didn't want. About Jack, who'd never been a father to Claire and wouldn't be one to this child either. About Linda, 43 and alone, who'd lost her marriage but wanted to save something good from the wreckage. "I'll ask," I said. "No promises, but I'll ask." Amanda agreed. It took some convincing, some negotiation through lawyers, but she agreed. The baby would be born in May. Linda would adopt. Private arrangement, sealed records, trust fund established from the divorce settlement. One innocent child saved from becoming collateral damage. Election night, Tuesday, November 5th. I wasn't on the ballot anymore. Technically I was, but I'd withdrawn, so votes for me wouldn't count. Thomas Brennan would win by default. Good man. He'd called me the day after my press conference, said he respected what I'd done, said if I ever wanted to talk, he was available. I appreciated that. The grace in the middle of chaos. But Claire was still running. State House, District 64. Her debate had gone well. She'd been asked about my withdrawal, about the scandal, and she'd handled it perfectly. My father made a decision based on his integrity. I respect that. Now let's talk about clean water policy. She distanced herself from the Harrison family brand. No more joint campaign events. No more photos of us together. She was running as Claire Harrison, period, not Rob Harrison's daughter. Her campaign headquarters was separate now. She'd moved everything out of my office, set up in a storefront 3 blocks away. New signs, just her name, no family values slogan. I watched the returns from home, alone. Margaret had offered to come over, but I'd told her no. This was Claire's night. She needed to own it, win or lose. The returns started coming in at 8 p.m., early precincts. Claire was down 2 points, then up 1, then down 3. It was going to be close. At 9:30, my phone rang. "Claire." "Dad? Can you come to headquarters, please?" "Claire, this is your campaign. You don't need me there." "Dad, please, I want you here." I drove to her headquarters, 200 people packed into a small storefront. Volunteers, donors, Olivia's family. Margaret was there. Of course she was. Once a campaign volunteer, always a campaign volunteer. Claire saw me come in, pushed through the crowd, hugged me. 53%. She whispered in my ear. "I'm at 53% with 80% of precincts reporting." "Claire, I'm going to win, Dad, on my own. Without the Harrison family brand, without your name propping me up, just me." She was crying, happy tears this time. At 10:15, the race was called. Claire Harrison, 52%. Her opponent conceded with grace. The crowd erupted. Olivia was crying. Margaret was hugging everyone. Campaign staffers were popping champagne. Claire got up on a chair. Someone handed her a bullhorn. Thank you. Thank you all so much. She was beaming. We did it. Clean water policy is going to Lansing. Cheers. Applause. Someone started chanting her name. Claire held up her hand. I want to say something about family. The room quieted. A lot of you know my father withdrew from his race last week. A lot of you asked if I'd drop out too, if the scandal would be too much. She looked right at me. But my father taught me something important. He taught me that integrity matters more than winning, that you show up and do the work even when it's hard. That family isn't about DNA or brand names. It's about who shows up for you. She stepped down from the chair, walked over to me, took my hand. Dad, you taught me everything that matters. How to serve, how to lead, how to choose truth even when the cost is everything. Her voice cracked. This victory is yours too. The room applauded. People I'd known for years, people who'd watched Claire grow up, people who understood what we'd been through. I hugged my daughter. DNA be damned. I'm proud of you, I whispered. I learned from the best. Rob and Claire redefined what family means. Not who you're born to, but who shows up. If you've built your own chosen family, people who became your real family, tell me about them in the comments. I'd love to hear your story. And if this one moved you, subscribe. I tell stories about integrity when the cost is everything. I'll see you in the next one. But Rob's story wasn't quite finished. 6 months later, May 15th, the baby was born 7 pounds, 3 ounces, healthy. Linda was there at the hospital. Amanda signed the papers. Private adoption, sealed records, everything legal and clean. I drove Linda home from the hospital. She sat in the back seat with the baby, a girl named Grace. Linda had already set up the nursery. Pale yellow walls, white crib, mobile with little stars. Rob, I don't know how to thank you, Linda said, for advocating for this, for helping arrange everything. You're giving her a good home. That's what matters. Your husband destroyed your family, and you helped me raise his child. She looked at the baby. Why? I thought about it, about Amanda, about Jack, about Claire, about the last 6 months of rebuilding my life from rubble. Because that's what we do, I said. We choose love even when it costs us. We choose grace. That baby is innocent. She deserves a mother who wants her. You deserve to be a mother. That's justice. Real justice. Linda was crying. Grace was sleeping. Tiny fist curled against Linda's chest. I helped carry the car seat inside, helped Linda set up the changing table she'd struggle with, showed her how to swaddle. I remembered from when Claire was born. You're going to be a great mom, I said. I hope so. I drove home thinking about family, about what makes someone a parent, about DNA versus love versus showing up every day. Claire had won her race, was in Lansing now, serving her first term, environmental policy, clean water legislation. She was making a difference. And she'd done it without my name, without the brand, without anything except her own merit. I'd accepted a position on the County Ethics Commission, appointed, not elected. Overseeing campaign finance compliance, investigating complaints, setting standards, ironic maybe, but appropriate. I also started teaching political science at the community college. Introduction to local government, 23 students, all of them bright, idealistic, convinced they could change the world. I told them they could, but I also told them integrity mattered, that you had to be the same person in public and in private, that family values meant something real, not just words on a yard sign. The commissioner's gavel sat on my bookshelf at home now, not a symbol of authority anymore, just a reminder that I'd chosen truth, that I'd walked away from power when power required lies. The college roommate photo, the one from Michigan State, Jack and me at 19, I'd finally filed it away in a box in the basement. Couldn't throw it away entirely. 30 years of friendship, even if it ended in betrayal, was still part of my history. But I didn't need to look at it anymore. Claire came to visit on a Sunday afternoon in late May, brought Olivia, brought takeout from the Chinese place we'd always liked. "How's Lansing?" I asked. "Exhausting, amazing, frustrating, I love it." She grinned. "We got the clean water bill out of committee. It might actually pass." "That's huge, Claire." "It's what you taught me. Find the common ground, build consensus, don't make it partisan." We ate on the back porch. Spring in Michigan, trees blooming, birds singing, normal, peaceful. "I saw Margaret yesterday," Claire said. "She told me Linda's doing great with the baby, takes her to the library, has a whole mom group." "Yeah, Linda sends me photos sometimes. Grace is getting big." "That was a good thing you did, helping arrange the adoption." "Linda wanted to be a mom. Amanda didn't want the baby. It worked out." Claire was quiet for a moment. "Have you talked to Mom?" "No, not since the divorce, finalized. Her lawyer talks to my lawyer when necessary. That's it." "She tried to call me last week." "Yeah?" I didn't answer. Claire looked at her food. "I don't know if I'm ready. She lied to me my whole life, Dad. How do I get past that?" "I don't know, honey. That's up to you. But eventually, maybe not now, maybe not for years, but eventually you might want some kind of relationship. She's still your mother." "And Jack? Is he still my father?" "Biologically. But no, not in any way that matters." We sat in comfortable silence, father and daughter, not because of DNA, because of love, because of showing up, because of 25 years of soccer games and school plays and late night talks. "Remember those yard signs?" Claire said suddenly. "Harrison Family Values." How could I forget? I used to hate that slogan, thought it was cheesy, but Dad, she looked at me. "You taught me what family values really means. Not the campaign slogan, the real thing, choosing truth, protecting the people you love, showing up even when it's hard." I reached over, took her hand. "You taught me too," I said. "You could have dropped out, could have let the scandal destroy you, but you kept fighting. You won on your own merit. That took courage." I learned from the best. We sat there as the sun set over Riverside County, the county I'd served for 12 years, the county I'd left, the county that was moving on without me. But I was okay, more than okay. I had my daughter, I had my integrity, I had a new purpose teaching the next generation. I'd lost the election, lost my marriage, lost my best friend, lost my career. But I'd kept the only thing that really mattered, the ability to look at myself in the mirror and see someone I respected. The campaign yard signs were gone now, recycled or thrown away or tucked in someone's garage. The Harrison Family Values slogan was dead, but the values themselves, those were still alive, just transformed, evolved. Not what you promise, what you do when all your promises break. That's integrity, that's family, that's what I taught Claire, and what she taught me right back.